Your worst enemy is you. And I know that sounds mad, like how can your worst enemy be yourself? But I've just had a discovery call with this particular gentleman, and it's actually his third time speaking to me, so it's the third call we've had over the last, I'd say, 3 months. I think the first time we spoke I was in Greece, so that was around September times, and then we spoke again. He booked another call maybe a month later, and a few days ago we had our third call after I got back from Antigua. And this chap, nice guy, he's interested in getting started in rent to rent. His current situation, for context, is he's working 40-50 hour weeks. He doesn't get to see his young son as much as he would like to, and he's approaching his 50s and he feels like he's working too many hours, and it's been that way for some time. So he's interested in getting started in rent to rent because he wants to get his time back so he can spend more time with his family. He's got an interest in property. He already owns, I think, the house he lives in and maybe one more property that he rents out. But because of his cost of living and providing for the family, he still has to work very long hours for a bank, I believe, and he's always busy, and he wants to be less busy so he can start to wind down a little bit and enjoy some of the best years he has left raising his family and being present, rather than being on back-to-back Zoom calls working for someone else for 40-50 hours a week. So that's why he booked a call with me to have a strategy session, which I offer for free. So if you're watching this and you want to have a discovery call or a strategy session, then I'll put a link in the video description below. Click the link, book a call, and we'll get you a plan of action. But yeah, on our first call he explained all of this to me. He explained that he's very stressed out, and he explained that he likes the idea of rent to rent because he sees how it could be a vehicle that would allow him to work less hours, control some properties whilst making some good cash flow, and slowly filter his way out of his 50-hour-a-week work life and work for himself. So after our first call, I gave him the opportunity to work with me, and he didn't take the offer, which is fine. You know, we've got enough clients to work with at the moment, but I really did feel like I could have helped this chap. But he didn't take the offer, he didn't join, and a month to 6 weeks later he booked another call in. We had the same sort of conversation, very similar to the first, and he explained to me he's very stressed and he hasn't got any time, and he also said that he's looked around at other property mentors and other education programs. I think he mentioned a company called Touchstone, who he had gone to a 2-day free seminar thing, and they had made him an offer to join their mentorship for, I think it was between 10 to 15 grand for the year. And he said he found that whole process a bit too salesy for him. He didn't like the way they were pitching their offer to him, or maybe he just didn't have the money to spend that much, right? Oftentimes people try and dress things up and make excuses for things, but maybe he just didn't have the money, or he just generally didn't really feel a good vibe with Touchstone. So he had shopped around, is my point, and that's how he had stumbled across my social media, and that's what made him book his call in. And then on the second call he was telling me all of this stuff. So second call, again, I said to him, I can help you. I can help you build a rent-to-rent business. I've helped many people in a similar situation to yourself, even bankers. I've helped Sam and Milad, who both worked in finance, build their own rent-to-rent business. They built a business up to 15 grand a month in profit over the course of like a year, and since then they both quit their 9-to-5 jobs in banking to follow their rent-to-rent dreams and aspirations. So that's just one example. If you want to see an interview with Sam and Milad, then it's on my YouTube channel, so look for my Rent-to-Rent Success Students playlist and you'll find Sam and Milad's story in there somewhere. I may even make it the next suggested video for you to watch if I remember. But yeah, my point is I've helped people exactly like this chap in the past really thrive from their rent-to-rent businesses, right? It normally takes around 6 months for me to get people out of their 9-to-5, sometimes sooner, but on average it takes around 6 months, and by the 12-month mark sometimes people are really flying, like Sam and Milad, who are making 15 grand a month profit from their rent-to-rent business in Essex. So anyway, back to this chap. I've explained to him again I can help him, made him an offer, which by the way is a lot less than 15 grand for the year. It's not even a quarter of that. And again, he couldn't decide, he couldn't make a decision, so we left it there. And lo and behold, last week when I got back from Antigua, he booked in a third call. And at this point I'm thinking, is this guy on a wind-up, or you know, what's his problem? Why can't he make a decision? You know, because if I've offended him, or I haven't done a good job explaining how I can help him, or I haven't made him a fair offer, then I guess he wouldn't keep booking calls in, right? So at this point I'm wondering, what's the issue here, you know? So anyway, we jump on the call for the third time. He starts explaining to me that he's not here to waste my time, and if he wasn't serious he wouldn't keep booking calls in. And I'm like, okay, well here we are again. I've pretty much said everything in the previous calls that I could possibly say to you, and at this point I made him aware that the problem isn't me or my program, it's him. He has a lot of self-limiting beliefs. He went on to tell me he's had failed businesses in the past in completely different industries to property, and those are the thought patterns that he keeps replaying in his mind, and that's why he hasn't joined the program yet, because ultimately he's scared he's going to fail again like he has done in the past. Now, I explained to him that rent to rent is a completely different business to what he's tried in the past. You know, he mentioned being a restaurateur, putting a lot of money into starting his own restaurant business, and that didn't work out, and he lost a fair bit of money doing that, and that seems to have scarred him over the last 5-10 years and stopped him from starting anything of his own again, because he's scared that he'll be in the same position, lose money and fail. And I said to him, rent to rent's completely different to that, to running a restaurant. You know, with a restaurant you've got overheads, you've got a premises, you've got staff, you've got stock. With rent to rent, you're arbitraging someone else's asset, so you guarantee them a fixed rent, and then you improve the property, market it better, more aggressively on particular platforms, and then you rent out the property for more than what you're paying, right? Very different business model to running a restaurant. You don't have huge overheads other than the rent you're paying the landlord and the expenses associated with the property, so your gas, electricity, water, council tax, etc. But once you've improved the property and you market it well, there's a huge market out there that needs to be serviced and fulfilled, and that market is people who need fully furnished, all bills included accommodation over a short to medium term. Huge market out there full of people who need that accommodation, and normally those people will go and stay in a hotel. Sometimes their work pays for them to do that, but 9 times out of 10 that person would rather have their own space, their own house, room, studio, where they can feel a bit more at home, reduce their cost, because hotels can be expensive, cook for themselves if they want to, and just feel a bit more like they're at home away from home while they're working away, you know. So that's the type of person that you need to attract into your properties with rent to rent. And as I said, there's thousands and thousands of people right now in a hotel who would love your accommodation if you were to build a good rent to rent property, a good serviced unit for them. So I explained to him that his failures in the past have nothing to do with what he's considering doing now, joining a rent to rent success system. And he still couldn't get himself past those previous failures, you know. And long story short, he tried to get a discount on the price, and we went back and forth. He tried to negotiate, and I made him a very fair offer, and he said he would join, and he still hasn't joined, right? So he's not going to join, and if he books another call in, I'm going to cancel it, because at this point I do think he's wasting time now, and I don't think he's the right type of person for the program anyway, because we like to work with people that are really sure and they know what they want. Because when you work with people like that, they do the work and they get you the result that they want and the result that we want, and we get a testimonial from them, and it grows the business, right? So we only really like to work with A players, as in people who are focused and they've already made their mind up, they're sure of what they want to achieve, they've already chosen me as the person to help them achieve what they want to achieve, and they're willing to do the work necessary, turn up to the Zoom calls with me one-on-one every week, and copy everything that I'm doing in my business, basically. They're willing to do that. So to summarize this this gentleman. He's not a bad guy, but he's in his own way, and he has self-limiting beliefs, and because of bad experiences in the past, he doesn't have the courage to take the next step. Even though he's in pain right now, he hates what he's doing day to day. He doesn't have any time to himself, doesn't have any time to raise his family. He's stressed out. In the space of our 3 phone calls, he's seen me relaxing in Greece with my little family. He's seen me on the beach in Antigua, again relaxing, being financially free, being the master of my own destiny. He's watched me do that in the space of the 3 months he's taken deliberating whether to join the program or not. He's seen for himself how I'm living, and I know he wants to live like that, but he's in his own way. He just can't get himself past his previous failures, and sadly I don't think he ever will. You know, if he's looked at other programs and they're too expensive for him, he finds them too salesy, then he has 3 calls with me and I'm a lot cheaper than those guys. Our price is going up next year, but I'm still a fair bit cheaper than those guys. I've got proven results all over social media. I think we've got nearly 15 interviews with success students on YouTube now. You know, we're talking about hours and hours and hours of content proving that I can do what I say I can do. So it isn't me, I'm not the problem. The problem's him. The problem is his self-limiting beliefs, his lack of courage, and I can't make him make the decision to join the program, right? I can't force him to do that. It needs to be a decision that he makes. So if you're watching this and you can relate to this chap and you have self-limiting beliefs, I want you to go away and work on those, you know, because no mentor is going to be able to make you believe in yourself more than you do. You know, you have to make that decision. You have to be confident that if you get set some tasks, that you're going to do those tasks and commit to whatever it is that you're choosing to do. No one can make you do that. You have to be competent and brave enough to back yourself. And if you do get to that point where you do feel brave enough and you do feel confident enough to follow through on something, then find someone who can help you, find someone who's ahead of you, who's definitely done what you want to do, and pay for them to mentor you. And you can speed up your learning curve, right? You can speed up the time it takes to get where you want to be by leveraging someone else's experience. That's all mentorship is. You know, you're paying for someone to come and pull you along, stop you from making mistakes, rather than you going and doing it yourself, which you could do, you know, but you're going to make mistakes, and it's probably going to take you a year, 18 months, 2 years, and the mistakes you make in that time may even wipe you out, may even take your capital that you had to invest away from you, and you might fail. So my advice to anyone watching this who can relate to this indecisive person who doesn't believe in themselves is work on building up your self-respect, your standards, and your courage, and take a bet on yourself. You know, the people that I've helped succeed, they've committed to what I've asked them to do, and in 3 months, in 6 months, they're exactly where they want to be. And that isn't a coincidence. It's because they took a bet on themselves, they took a bet on me, even though at this point I'm not really a bet or a gamble. My work's proven. I can help you, but you have to help yourself first, right? So work on your self-confidence, work on your self-belief. Previous failures don't determine future outcomes. The inputs that you put in now, today, that's what determines future outcomes. Things that have happened in the past are in the past. Today is today. It's always a fresh start. There's always an opportunity to get to where you want to get to. You have to put in the right inputs, and you have to be guided by the right person who's been where you want to be. So that's my message for today. Work on your self-belief, and when you feel ready and you back yourself, then book a call with someone who can help you. And if that's me, great. If it's not me, that's also fine. Whatever field you're in, you have to be confident enough to know that you're going to do the work that's set for you. No one's going to come and save you. People will help you, guide you, pull you along, but you have to back yourself first. So if you do want me to help you start or scale your rent-to-rent business, I'll put a link in the video description below. Click the link, book a call. On that call, we'll have a chat, see if we're a good fit for each other. If so, then great. And I look forward to working with you. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one.